Thank you for that. And all I've got to say is, wow, WA, how good is this? Turning the dial. I think all the event organisers should be thanked for putting this on, and the vibe today has been fantastic. The one thing I can get out of today is that you can't do it alone. We just heard from Janet that you're busy and cash strapped. So what do you take away from this event? At least 3 things was the day. So I hope you've got your list working there. At the Entrepreneurs Program, we're a federally funded organisation with facilitators right around the country, of which we have a couple here today, as well as our representatives from AusIndustry as well. So you can tap into them and have a chat a bit more about what the Entrepreneurs Program is and AusIndustry and how they can help. But the key focus is to help SMEs to invest, grow and export. Our SMEs are generally defined as those who have revenues between 1.5 and 100 million. But how might we is the question I'd like to ask all of you today. How might we? How might you implement those 3 top things that are in your business that you're going to take away and actually take action on? That's what we do as part of the Entrepreneurs Program when we look at what we call smart projects around common challenges. In this case, the common challenges was working with the food and ag sector, and we found that food waste and packaging was going to be key. You heard from Nerida today talking about getting that balance right. We went out to industry stakeholders to figure out how we could do this. How might we do this in a practical and implementable manner to connect and collaborate with the willing to create and take action that is practical and implementable. The key stakeholders we dealt with were a lot of the ones you've seen today up here on stage and on screen in just their logos. So certainly the Cold Chain Council, we've got Mark Mitchell here today, Nerida from the Australian Institute of Packaging, but also our key collaborators over here in the West being the Western Australian DPIRD team, who I thank all of them for their organisation. We created the cold chain optimisation project out of this, a pilot project with WA to help try and improve people's understanding, use and work on cold chains within their own business and across the entire value chain. It was a 2 or 3 year journey of collaboration. There was a lot of people involved that I've tried to thank there, in fact over 20 stakeholders. We did have a focus on SMEs and their challenges, and in working through those challenges, we found that there's a lot of knowledge out there. And the Food Cold Chain Council came to the party. They've got a lot of IP and they have created a tool out of this, and that's what you're going to hear today with the formal launch of the Cold Chain benchmarking tool. So what I'd like to do is encourage all of you to utilise that tool if you're in cold chain. But what I'd normally do, I guess, for people who are about to head out for drinks is say, I don't want to get in the way between you and having a nice drink. But what if instead I said, there's a bit of a problem with the cold chain out there. All of the beverages are currently 30 degrees. Is that okay? Anyone? No, there's no hands in the air. None of you are happy with that, so you're all participating in the cold chain today. So, in saying that, without the WA team, this couldn't have actually gone ahead. Terry Burnage, Senior Business Development Manager for the WA team. Terry, I'd like you to come to stage next and talk through about how this happened further along the chain.
Yeah,
thank you.
I'll say certain things. So, I guess out of when the COVID crisis happened, we were faced with a situation where there was no air freight and the future looked fairly uncertain, and I was looking for solutions to help business through. We had a $0.8 billion export industry based upon air freight, which took live seafood and perishable fruit and beverage overseas. And we got through the first stage of that with chartering support to businesses with chartering planes, and then the IFAM kicked in. But the future was still looking very, very uncertain. And I happened to be tapping into a webinar where Mark and Brett and I think Nerida was on there as well. And I thought, gee, this really hits over quite a few buttons about what we're trying to achieve. We're moving into a very uncertain future with unreliability of shipping schedules, heightened costs, heightened risks, and really having to be very agile moving forward. The question mark then was do we have compliant cold chains that can withstand these shocks in adverse times, let alone are they compliant during normal times as well. Is this an opportunity to seize the opportunity whereby companies are interested in improving the business continuity, but also setting a firm foundation for the future? So that's when the dialogue started with Brett and with Mark and with other partners that Brett's already detailed. So the cold chain optimization project was born. We had 12 SMEs, of which one was from New South Wales, engaged, and that was really a process through the entrepreneurs program whereby there was an awareness raising phase, there was a what tools do we use phase, and how do we actually get some rubber on the road and make a difference. And I think that probably the best way of describing that journey is to hand over to Greg, who was a participant in that. For those of you that don't know Greg, I've known Greg for several years now, Ryan's Quality Meats, and I emphasise the quality there because Greg is absolutely all about quality, a business with great integrity, but really striving all the time to improve quality and customer value. So it was great to get Greg on the program, and Greg will now go through the journey. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to thank the Entrepreneurs Program first for giving me the opportunity to speak today about the Ryan's Quality Meats, or RQM, cold chain journey, which started almost 60 years ago. Unfortunately for you all and me, it's probably due to my age and length of years in the industry rather than me being a riveting public speaker. Just to give you a bit of background on RQM and my lifelong connection to the business, I was born in December 1965 and my parents started a mum and dad butcher shop, corner store, in February 1966. So to say I've been in the butchering industry my whole life is a pretty accurate statement. Long time, and obviously started off working in the business as clean up boy or whatever. So my first job in the business as a very young boy was raking and cleaning the sawdust on the chiller floor, or back then it was more like a cooler, it didn't work that well. Then progressing to helping in the shop with more sawdust to rake, along with other manual tasks to do. Looking back on how basic refrigeration was in the mid to late 70s and how a small corner store retail butcher displayed their trays of meat with little or no refrigeration, it's a small wonder there wasn't more issues with people suffering from food poisoning. But then again, maybe medical science or lawyers weren't as good back then either. Fast forward to now, we're a multi-site business, one in Jandakot, one in Bunbury, that employs 90 to 95 people when we process about 80 tonne of meat a week. So the growth has been fairly significant over the years. I've had the business with my wife for 30 years after buying it off mum and dad. So it has been a bit of a journey. As meat processors and butchers, we all know that maintaining the quality and freshness of our products is of utmost importance. From farm to table, we need to ensure that the meat we supply to our customers is fresh, safe and free from any harmful bacteria or pathogens. This is where the cold chain technology comes into play. The cold chain industry has come a long way since the 60s. Back then, and this is going back on what my dad was saying when I wasn't around back then too much, but back then we had limited options for transporting perishable goods. Refrigerator trucks were only starting to be used, and temperature monitoring was not a requirement and a process of the future. Now with modern vehicles and better processes, we are rapidly closing the issues around transporting valuable perishable goods. However, the most significant changes have happened in the last 5 years. Cold chain technology has made tremendous strides in recent years thanks to the development of new sensors, tracking systems and cloud-based software. These advancements have made it easier for like ours to monitor and control temperature, humidity and other conditions that affect the quality of our products. One of the most significant cold chain technologies is the use of real-time monitoring systems. RQM in the last 6 months have started using the FridgeBot system, which is out there on display today. This system uses wireless sensors that are placed inside control boxes of the chillers to track the temperature. RQM now has real-time and full-time access to data, allowing us to monitor conditions of our products in real time. And if there is any discrepancies, we can take immediate action to rectify the issue. Darren Dwyer, who developed the FridgeBot system, is here today and will be here tomorrow. So rather than me trying to explain the whole system and confusing you, you're definitely better off going to speak to Darren regarding the advantage of using these real-time systems. The main thing I look at when making decisions around improving and optimising our cold chain is I call it insurance. The insurance that it builds into our business, with our raw material cost and overhead costs ballooning over the last 5 years and with no end in sight, along with all industry suffering from ongoing staff shortages, as a business, it's imperative that we do all we can to improve and simplify our cold chain. In improving our cold chain and shelf life capabilities, RQM continues to build a robust and provable cold chain which closes a loop and in some ways hands responsibilities over the next link in the chain. What we're trying to do is, as say, like I've done everything in our business from, butchering, delivering, the whole lot. And when we started to grow, we were delivering to all these people that were growing these burger places, small food businesses were getting popular, but they're all operating small fridges and all that sort of stuff. But they're pushing the problem back onto us. Even though we had HACCP in place, they were pushing their problems back onto us. They had no way of recording their temperature, but so it became our problem. So what we're trying to do with our cold chain is improve it, make it robust, and say, well, this is what we delivered you guys. You got it from here. Use it wisely. So in simplifying it, we are taking the mundane but important tasks of monitoring our systems away from our staff by using systems that are IT-based, enabling our staff to enabling us to use our staff in other parts of the process. One organic benefit I see improving our cold chain is minimising the impact RQM has on the environment. As when you think about it, improving shelf life leads to less packaging being discarded because of lack of spoilage, less deliveries being made because you're delivering to a customer a product that lasts longer because of the integrity of the packaging. One investment in cold chain optimisation that gets overlooked, in my opinion, is solar energy. RQM over the last 5 years has invested heavily in putting solar panels on both our sites, with Bunbury alone having 1,200 square metres of solar panels installed. This gives us a two-sided benefit as we're producing solar power while reflecting heat off the building, which leads to the building enabling the factory to run at the correct ambient temperature more efficiently, reducing the stress on refrigeration equipment and reducing our power cost again. From the RQM point of view, solar energy provides us benefit with more ways than one. Overall, these advancements in cold chain technology have had a significant impact on our industry and business. They've allowed us to transport and store our products more efficiently, which helps reduce waste and increase profitability. They also maintain the quality and freshness of our products, which is essential for building trust with our customers. Hang on, one more page. Oops. In conclusion, as a part of a fresh food industry, we need to stay up to date with technology and the latest advancements in cold chain technology. By doing so, we continue to provide our high quality products to our customers while also reducing waste and increasing profitability. The future of our industry looks bright, and I'm excited to see what innovations and improvements will come in the years ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg, and it was great to have you as part of the pilot cohort that went through the cold chain project. I guess one of the main thing, or one of the main things that came out of that was the work that Mark Mitchell, chair of the Cold Chain Council, has driven forward to build something which is pretty unique in that I've had a search out there and there's nothing like it on the marketplace at the moment. So what we're about to witness shortly is the launch of a unique global product. Mark himself has got 40 odd years of experience in cold chain management, and I've got to say that the enthusiasm and the commitment that you have to making sure that cold chains improve in terms of robustness in Australia is second to none, and that's the enthusiasm is fantastic. So I'll hand over to you now, Mark, just to go through what the tool is, and then we'll have a wrap up after that. If that's okay.
I'll jump up here.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, you'll be pleased to know that I do not have a 100-slide PowerPoint presentation. Okay, you must be all dead by now. Death by PowerPoint sometimes, isn't it? But no, look, I've got a couple of slides here to launch the benchmarking tools. Really, is mine. This is a ribbon cutting event. My presentation more so than informative. So, but look, just quickly, ladies and gentlemen. As Terry and Brett said earlier, this is the first, an Australian first for the Australian cold chain. For the first time, we now have a tool that can pinpoint and even measure the level of where a business sits in its cold chain activities. Benchmarking and measuring is nothing new. Our sporting teams and sporting heroes do it every day of every hour, every minute of every week. In the sporting arena, without benchmarking, there's no success, there's no improvement. There's no going ahead. No doubt our cricket team's probably got to think a bit about some benchmarking when it gets back from its current tour. But and that's not a criticism of anyone who has an issue or there's a challenge. The benchmarking of where you're at is part of life, really. And the cold chain. And in fact, just being in business is the same. If you ask yourself, how good do I want to be? The answer for any of us who want to succeed at both is always very good. No one ever says, I want to be bad. We all want to be good. So this tool is a pathway to being very good. It's more than a simple report. It will provide feedback, guidance, recommendations, and a range of information resources. Once you log on and set up your business as a user, it's a step process. The first section is essential. The first 3 or 4 steps that everyone has to do. After step 4 of the tool, it becomes elective, depending on your business and your actual particular cold chain process in question. And it can be split into incoming goods, outgoing goods, internal temperature management if you're running a storage facility, and the delivery of goods management. It's also guides you through, if you're just a simple restaurant, a simple mum and pop corner store restaurant, it's got to have a cold chain process in place. It's all part of food safety. There's something in there for you. There's something in here for everybody. And as I said, there's a range of resources to choose from upon completion. Some of them are shown here on this slide. So that's all. I could keep going. I actually cut 60 slides out because I knew this is where we would be today. So without further ado, I'm going to invite Terry and Brett to come and push the buttons because this is a world first. This is a global world's first, right? So you're the first people, as I said to the workshop attendees today. So if we push this button here together, and Ryan's going to get ready with the curtains, ta-da!